Tonight I want to talk about something that's a little more personal. Um, I want to show people how you can overcome extreme tragedy, I guess, is the words I'm looking for. Some of you might know me and know that I was raped when I was 19 years old. This is a story that I feel like I can finally talk about and I'm not afraid to. I really want to talk about it because I want women to know, or rape victims to know, that you can overcome it. You can completely take back your life and take back control of it and stop being afraid. If you have a dream you want to go after, you need to go after it. You really need to go after it. I was 19 years old and I had just broke from my first year of college, and I moved back to my parents' house, my father's house in Virginia, and I worked for this little Piccadilly place in the mall. I wasn't feeling so well, and I kept pushing on. I kept pushing on while I was working, and finally, I just kept getting sick. I kept running to the bathroom, and I don't know if it's something I ate or whatnot, but I just didn't feel well. And we lived about a mile and a half from the mall at the time. And my boss let me go early, and I went to walk outside the mall, and I crossed the mall parking lot to this McDonald's payphone. Yeah, back when there were payphones, there wasn't any cell phones or anything like that. So yeah, I actually had to put a quarter in the phone to call home. When I got to the payphone, I remember getting the answer machine, and I remembered, oh my gosh, my parents aren't home. And I remembered they were actually taking my younger brother and sister school shopping. So I decided, well, I'll just walk home. It's only a mile and a half. Well, no sooner did I go to hang up the phone, this hand grabbed me by the arm. It kind of startled me, and when I went to turn around, I didn't know who this person was. And immediately he shoves this sharp object, I'm assuming it's a knife, inside of a rag, and shoved it into my ribs and said, if you make a move or any kind of indication, I will kill you right here in front of God and everyone. That's when I realized what fear can do to people, how crippling it can make people feel. And I will never forget that day. But I will also never forget how I came through it. I'm not going to go into extreme detail about it, but basically he abducted me to a different area. And when everything was over, I didn't know how to feel. I was completely blank. I never felt that way in my life. I was always considered happy-go-lucky person, or someone that got along with everyone, or just the goofiest person around. So I just couldn't believe what happened at the time, and I don't remember a whole lot about it since it was so long ago. I mean, many years ago, 1993, I believe it was. And the funny thing about it is I turned into somebody that I never thought I would turn into for a few moments in time. The guy wasn't going to let me go. Matter of fact, his whole reason for abducting me and raping me was to try me out, to see if he could sell me to somebody in another country. He was going to take me to Florida and smuggle me somehow out of the country. that is uh, the hardest thing to, I guess I was in shock. It's a hard thing to take in, especially at 19, you know. All I wanted to do was get in the military at the time. I wanted to follow my dad's footsteps. I wanted to be somebody in the military. That's what I thought I had to do. Well, I talked to this guy like I wasn't afraid of him, and I talked to him like I was going to listen to everything he had to say. If he would just let me go home for a few minutes to get my clothes, I would meet him back at a certain spot, and he fell for it. That moment in time, I'd actually been able to convince somebody that I would be right back. That's the strange thing. I can't believe I still did it to this day. But I did it. It was survival. I walked home, and when I got there, there's still no parents, no brother and sister. So I could walk across the street to my best friend's house, and when she opened the door is when I realized what had just happened to me. Her face looked so horrified that her sorry. Her face looked like death warmed over her. I don't know any other way to describe it. It just she helped me call the police, and the police came out, and we went back through the scene. I had to go back to the hospital. I was made to tell the story over and over and over again, and it just hurt every single time I had to tell it. It made me feel terrible inside. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. Didn't know whether to cry, be mad, or go insane, one or the other. I really didn't know how to feel at the time. But time came to when they told me that we needed to go do this drawing of my assailant. And little did the police know that I had went to school and college for art and music. So I told them I wanted to draw my assailant. They didn't think I could handle it, but I assured them I could. And it was the best therapy I think I ever had. It was extremely hard. Extremely hard. To keep watching that person's face over and over again while you're drawing it and have it come to life on a piece of paper. It was hard. But I turned it in 24 hours, and I gave them this picture. And what I came to find out was 6 days later, I believe it was, maybe 2 weeks at the most, my stepmom had put this picture that I drew in her van. And every day that she had to drive the van, she would see this picture, and she would look all over the place for this man. And one day he was in a parking lot getting ready to do the same thing to another girl. And she called the police, and they caught him. And let me just tell you, 1 out of every 10 women who are raped by a stranger survive. 1 out of every 100 assailants are caught. I don't know if it was God on my side or the determination to make sure that it would never happen to another woman. Probably all of the above. Because I don't want it to ever happen to another woman again, at least from this man. So the point of what I'm telling you is that After going through all of the court hearings, in the state of Virginia at the time, there was a law stating that no matter how many times a person had committed a crime, they were always tried as if it was the first time. So the trial was a while. It took a while. And the jury had no idea this man had already had previous convictions of the same exact thing. He was a repeated offender. My case my case was the one that helped change the law in Virginia for repeated offenders. Now, if they're a repeated offender, they're not tried as if it was the first time. And when I was told that after the court hearings were over and everything, and my lawyer told me that this law had changed, it was printed in the newspaper. I believe my stepmom still has the article today. That was the first point in my life when I realized that I can make a difference even if I was one person. And sometimes you have to go through things that you don't want to do. Things happen to you that can make or break you. And it's you who have to make that decision that it's not going to break you. Because to this day, I want to be who I am without that. Not that I ever wanted that to happen, but I wouldn't be as strong as I am now. Because I refuse to allow that moment, that terrible thing that happened, control my life. Because if I do, that means he wins forever. And that ain't happening. And I don't want to see that happen to you or anyone else. Because of that moment, and that I finally realized that I made a difference somewhere, I made a vow to myself that no matter how much I would go through, or bad decisions that I make, or failures that I would make, I would get back up and just keep going. I would learn from the mistake, and I would do whatever I can to keep on going, to keep trying. I'm never giving up. Well, now I've started my own business since last November. And here it is, June. I've never been happier in my life. Things are changing all the time. I bought a brand new Mustang that I never thought I would ever be able to have, 2013. I absolutely love it. It's beautiful. But it's not about the things I can buy. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with money. It's the fact that I never stopped giving up no matter what things happened to me. Been through a lot more than just that. But that's one of the biggest accomplishments in my life, regardless if it was a rape. There are things that are way worse that happen to other people than what had happened to me. Some women don't get to survive, but the ones who do not let anyone take your dreams from you. Do not let that man or that person win. Take control of yourself and your life, because if you don't, then life will control you. You decide what you want. And just do it.